take this time to introduce you all to our first speaker of the evening, Mr. Rendell Pete. Now, before I invite him up, I'd like to brag about how cool this kid is real quick. I'm just gonna maneuver this around a little bit. There are some students that stand out to you, and all the students that I've met, few students make me as nervous as Rendell. But in a good way. This guy has so much going on. He has a drive for success. He has a skill for networking, and he has a passion for the projects that he works on. I look forward to seeing what he gets up. Is this thing driving? Okay, hold on, people. Okay, give me a second. All right. Now, with that, there are a few descriptors that I'd like to use to make sure that you understand the dynamo that is about to stand before us this evening. Rendell is a senior computer engineering major. He's also the conference chair for NSBE, the National Society of Black Engineers. He is a serial entrepreneur. I wanted to say like serial killer, you know, but he said don't say that, so ignore that. That's
Thank
fine.
you.
He's a good guy. He's a good. Oh, and he's also the founder of the Carolina Sales Institute of Engineering and Technology. I got it. Please give a round of applause to Mr. Rendell Pete.
They didn't tell me that I was going to be up there the whole time. Well, thank you all for coming. How many days do you think we have till last day of classes? Does anyone know it? Yes, but it's 16 if you're just counting class days. So I think we should give all of y'all an applause because y'all almost made it and y'all almost done. You've an incredible semester. So, yeah. So I have one more question for y'all. I actually don't have my phone on me, but raise your hand if you do actually have a phone and you're on it for more than 1 hour a day. What about 2? 2, let's jump to 3, 4, 5, 6. I will stop at 6 for just the sake of everyone here. But I want to show that you weren't the only one in that whole scenario. It's literally all of us, and I wanted to ask, after all of those hours on the phone, do you actually feel better from that? Because I know I didn't. I didn't feel clear or peaceful or really more like myself after all those hours. And that gap is a really wide distance. And it's the distance between how much time we spend on our phone and how little it actually gives back to us in return. And that's actually what I want to capture tonight. So think about how we just go through a normal day. And even before you get out of bed, you're on your phone, and you probably have seen 10 people who are living lives better than you. Because I know I see it. They may have better bodies, better routines, maybe even better internships. And I know you didn't choose to compare, but comparison just happens anyway. And that's literally the environment we live in. How are we supposed to feel on track when we're just constantly being shown highlighted reels and of people of our age who look like they kind of already made it in life? It's really funny. And I'm here to tell you that you're not behind. You were meant to not build a life that is copying someone else's feed. And your own life has its own pace, its own strengths, and its own direction. And the moment you stop measuring yourself up against other people, you finally create enough space where you can actually build something that's yours and extraordinary. I know I could see it in all of you today. So I know everyone here is mostly in college. I'm also in college. And so I know everyone is here the same speech. Telling of your parents, don't be on your phone, or you're wasting your life on your phone, or something along those lines. So I actually ran the numbers. And my personal screen time was 5 hours a day. And I was curious what that looked like over a whole lifetime. And I did the equation, and I literally got hit by a train, because that's what it felt like. Was the total came out to more than a decade. It also came up to more than half of my life. It's 15 years. 15 years of what 5 hours a day gets in a whole life. And that was the moment where it clicked for me. When I knew if I spent enough of my life distracted and overstimulated, I wouldn't be able to accomplish my goals. And so, there should be a slide that goes next. I have control. There we go. I want to share the love, and I would like y'all to go through the same thing that I did. It's just a little website, and you only do 2 inputs, which is your age and how much time you spend per day on your phone, so it's only 2 seconds, and just see how much time it is. I was super curious, so I assume y'all were. And I know that QR code is not very pretty, but it literally changed my life, because seeing that number floored me so hard that it made me actually take steps to change. And now I have a new goal. That new goal is making sure I don't hit 20 years of my life on my phone. That's my new goal. Hopefully y'all are getting the results, and maybe y'all were surprised as I was. This is pretty crazy. So I'll speak about it in engineering terms for a second. If we ran a system that was for 5 hours a day and produced no real output, is that inefficient, or is just not useful? And that's funny, because that's exactly what we do with our phones every single day. So what changed things for me? The shift was really simple. I started paying attention to what I let in. I began asking myself the question over and over again: is this helping me live better, or is it just eating time? And that's how I slowly and surely was able to capture 5 hours a day back in my life. I know I can use 5 hours a day back in my life. I'm sure everyone here probably can say the same. And it sounds really obvious, but it's really hard, extraordinarily hard to sit with. Was one of the easiest things that I actually did, which was very effective, was turning my phone into grayscale mode. It's already baked to our software of iPhones and Androids, and it just makes your screen black and white. And it works so well because much of modern engineering is literally equivalent to a shot of heroin, because that's what our phones look like. And it's pretty great. I mean, it is pretty great. That's a pretty phone. Doesn't it make you look at it and stare at it? Because it sure does with me. And in a world where everything, literally everything, is overstimulating, the grayscale technique literally cut my time in half in just one day. And it's pretty crazy. And I want to be clear that I didn't become disciplined overnight. It's just because it made the phone less seductive. Does that look interesting or pretty? It kind of looks depressing, but it really, really works. And the second shift was learning to take control of my attention before that moment starts. So before an exam, or before I walk in an interview, or entering a situation that's going to affect me, I try to get ahead of it, mentally. And so, what does that mean? I'm thinking through what I'm excited about and what I'm anxious about and what might throw me off in that scenario. And when I do that, I tend to show up with more clarity, finding myself less anxious and overwhelmed by the situation because I expect what happens next. And as for me, eventually this came more about than just productivity. For me, that grounding comes from my relationship with God. That gives me a peace that doesn't rise or fall with how I compare to somebody else online. And it reminds me that my value is not coming from an algorithm or approval or attention. And that changes the way I move through the world. So, I have one more question. Have you ever picked up your phone for some specific reason, like to text someone or shoot out an email, and then all of a sudden, a few minutes later, you find yourself on Instagram or on Amazon looking for something, and it's infuriating because you're like, wait, what was I even here for in the first place? And that is kind of the point that I'm trying to bring home, which is bigger than it actually looks. And it's the opportunity of things that gray mode stops. And it's actually 100% money back guaranteed, which you didn't pay for it. But it's not a dramatic overhaul. You're not deleting every app, and you're also not putting app limiters on your phone because you get to still see that amazing funny video. It's just in black and white. So I leave you with this. What kind of future do you get from consuming the most content? When you get older and look back, what do you want to see? Do you want your greatest accomplishment to be how well you kept up with the times, or maybe how many videos you watched, yet somehow still absent from your own present life at the same time? Or do you want something else, maybe spending less time on being told what to think, what to want, what to be, and instead building a life that's actually yours? And maybe in that you become more present, noticing people, and weren't tossed around by whatever algorithm is being pushed that day. But instead you acted on your life, like the in-person one, and maybe looking back with less regret. A less sense of that the years just slipped through your fingers as you were staring into a little metal box in your hand. And in that, you may have more clarity and more thankfulness and more evidence that you were actually here in your own life. Not living in the fog of technology, but